It's a robbery. It is an outright robbery if Arsenal do this, and Chelsea Football Club will be laughing all the way to the bank. Now, I know there are going to be some Arsenal fans that don't want to comment on this because there's a lot of criticism going towards their football club right now. I know there are some Arsenal fans that will want to jump on this like a bitch in heat and use it to slam their own club, to push their own personal agendas. But let's remove the extreme fringes for a moment and have an honest conversation. £50 million plus for Noni Madueke is ridiculous business. I don't think the most diehard cut them in half and they've got the word Arsenal written through them like a stick of rock Guna is happy with this deal. Not as it may mean the end of the pursuit of Rodrigo. Where does he actually fit into the plans? Is he the backup to Saka, or is he going to be rotational left with Martinelli? There's rumors that he's coming in for around 50k a week. So a cheap wage option. And remember, the wages are a bigger focus for a club than the transfer fee. This has been the way for many, many, many a year. If you look at the wage bills of Arsenal, PSG, Man United, City, etc., they're always they eclipse the general amount of money spent on transfers each and every single summer. So it's a much bigger focus point for the financiers of football clubs. But that all being said, Noni Madueke around £50 million. This is a robbery. And sitting back as a neutral to this, watching Arsenal fans react, some lose their minds, some look for the bright side. It's looking at the guys that typically have a more positive outlook. Now, some of them are going to get absolutely rinsed. It'll be, I thought you trusted the process. I thought you told us all to be positive. And that's where the hyperbolic banter comes in. And do you know what? Again, still the fringes. The vast majority of Arsenal fans sit in the middle, where they'll criticize some things and they'll praise others. They'll state their opinions without pushing agendas. They can be annoyed at their football club without pushing lies, as an example. Because I did see somebody tweet about this deal saying, oh my God, we're going to bring him in on 200k a week. And it's like, okay, you can be against it, but don't lie and add fuel to the fire. But the vast majority of Arsenal fans are miffed. They're frustrated. They're angry. And my question is, what have Berta, Arteta, the key decision makers at Arsenal, what have they seen? What have they noticed that you and I, 95% of the Chelsea fan base, who are gleefully happy, painfully happy, in fact, that this deal is going through? One, it helps them bring in money. They're going to make a profit on Noni. They can invest that in a new player themselves, and they feel like they're really going in the right direction. What is it that Berta, Arteta, and the key football decision makers at Arsenal see in Madueke to part with £50 million plus of their money? Because I don't think he's as good as Alanga, Kudus. He isn't going to be that much cheaper than the likes of Cunha and Mbeumo that have gone to Manchester United. Eze, their opening bid for Eze, according to court offside, is going to be less. And Eze is superior to Noni Madueke, in my opinion, in every single which way, barring one-on-one take-ons, which Noni may do him on the stats. Eze is a better football player for me. So, looking at this, I'm looking at it and I understand the frustrations that are going through Arsenal fans' mind. This is a bad move. It's leaving a sour taste in their mouths. It's leaving them heavily and highly frustrated with the summer as a whole. And that's a shame for Arsenal fans. And I'll tell you why it's a shame, because Zubimendi is an excellent piece of business. Norgard, I stand on this, at £9 million is a little mini masterstroke. £9 million. I think it maybe works out a little bit more with add-ons, maybe 12. But it's a masterstroke. He's so good and that is so cheap. It's an excellent piece of business. You look at the young centre-back in Mosquera, they're looking to bring in, again, so highly touted. You talked around 20-odd million for him. Excellent. But it's the Zubimendis and the Gyökeres deals. I know Gyökeres is stalling, but I don't think anybody at this particular moment on the 9th of July 2025 feels that this deal is going to collapse or fall through. There isn't really any empirical evidence that that is the case. But you obviously got the Eze deal that's made everybody excited as well. Zubimendi, as I've mentioned, I think Zubimendi is a game changer. I think Zubimendi is maybe along with Gittins going into Chelsea, maybe the most underrated signing I've seen so far this summer. But seemingly Arsenal fans are so disappointed. And I want you to tell me if I'm wrong here in terms of what I've heard and seen. Do you feel different? Do you see it in a different way? But there's a lot of gooners who are seemingly just saying, you know, I don't care what else we do. There's very little now the club could do to make me think that they're serious. I feel my club are cutting corners. They're saying they feel their club is not being serious, is the phrase that's often used, is a lacking of ambition. You know, the example I would give is this, the analogy I would give is, it's like I'm a massive fan of the Rocky universe. So Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, Rocky Balboa, Creed 1, 2, 3. I love every single one of those films for different reasons. But then there's Rocky 5. And I just look at it and think, now that hasn't ruined the entire franchise and universe for me. But that's how some Arsenal fans are thinking and feeling. And I just think it's a really poor decision by Berta and Arteta. I think there are better options for backups in those wide players. You think about the likes of, they haven't played in the Prem, so fair enough, but there's the likes of Malik Fofana and Bakayoko that are available. There are other Premier League players. And seemingly, it does all depend as to whether or not they move back in for Rodrigo. Real Madrid, I'm recording this just as Real Madrid are getting ready to play in their semi-final game against Paris Saint-Germain. Have they already been rejected for that player? If Madueke is the alternative, that tells me he's going to play regularly. Surely there are better wingers, better wide players in the Prem, better wide players in the top leagues in Europe that you can get for a similar price to between 50 to 60 million pounds. That's the bit I am miffed by. That's the bit I don't understand. That is the bit that Arsenal fans are rightfully calling out. And the universal frustration at this deal from Arsenal fans, I think, should be an indicator. And you would hope, and I don't often advocate for football clubs to be run based on fan opinion at all times, because football fans, whether it's Arsenal fans today, whether it's myself as a United fan, we are very emotional. We've seen Tottenham fans today celebrate the news around Mohamed Kudus. It was only 24 hours ago. They were going mental on their streams, tweeting all types of madness. In fact, we had someone super chat us. We read it out and it said, Baldy, better hurry up with the Kudus deal. The split second I stopped reading that super chat, the bomb from Ornstein dropped. So up until that moment, the frustration was there and it was gone. So you can't always listen to fans, even when they're right. They can often be wrong in many ways because you're so emotional. But I do think on this one, Arsenal fans by and large are right. This deal is a robbery at the price. He isn't good enough for Chelsea to get them back into a title race. He's certainly not good enough for Arsenal. But I want your thoughts and I want your opinions on this in the live, not the live chat, but in the chat box below. I want to know what you think and what you feel. Make sure you're subscribing here to my channel. I really do appreciate you all being here and watching. But this is a crazy one for me. Take care, people, and we'll see you all again soon. Peace.